Great to have you here this morning, last day of IBC. Are you all awake after 4 days of IBC? Barely. Okay. We'll try to wake you up. Yeah, so that's me, as Ian said, connecting the dots, connecting people. We started Friday with a party with 300 people. That was a good start. Now the feet are hurting in the meantime, but we're not done. So a few words about myself. I run a Munich-based consultancy. I work with some of these companies, vendors and operators on innovation, thought leadership, and also public speaking. Now, we're going to talk about AI a lot, and that's also a big topic in a recent research I'm running with several of the tier 1 telcos in Europe, the Americas, and the question I asked them, what are you actually really doing with AI? It's a buzzword. It's not a hype anymore. It's not going away. We're not talking about metaverse and 3D. This is here to stay. But we're in really early days. A lot of experimentation. The question is what really works. A lot of innovation trials. But we're going to hear from our 3 panelists what actually is deployable and what are the challenges you have to address and how can you address them. So, a few topics we're going to talk about is how can I enhance content, how can I enhance discovery, and the user experience, because that's eventually what the user will see, and we want them to be happy and stay and pay. Good. Without further ado, we have a short introduction for each of the panelists, and first one is Tom, I think. Big applause for Tom Dworak from Crossroad Media. Hi, Tom. Stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Andreas. Good morning. Last day. My most favorite day, unlike the speaker today in the morning. Yeah, so I'm Tom Dworak. I'm one of the founders of Crossroad Media. And what do? We have just a stand on the other side of the stage here. So we founded about 12 years ago. We took a team out of Philips Electronics. And we focus all about personalization only for media services. So our customers are publishing companies, are service providers, streaming services. These are our usual partners. We serve about 50 plus deployment worldwide and 200 million users on our platform as per today. Very quick introduction to what we do, and I think a video does it better than I can ever talk.
Watching TV used to be so easy. But with so many TV and streaming options out there today, it can be frustrating for viewers to find the content they want. Is your audience suffering from subscription fatigue? At Crossroad Media, we want to bring joy back to users when they seek entertainment. Created specifically for media services who want to keep their customers engaged and excited about their offering. Our intelligent personalization services allow you to create different user experiences at every viewer touchpoint, including notifications, upsell offers, the advertising experience, and more. Dynamically changing the content your users see depending on their interests, preferences, and watching behavior. Our AI-powered solution means your customers can find new and classic content they love and spend more time enjoying it. But that's not all. With our industry-leading technology, you can quickly and easily understand the most relevant content for your audience and personalize any touchpoint, adding in promotions and adverts that will resonate with your audience. With one API, our effortlessly integrated solution is quick to install and can get to work straight away, analyzing your customer data and creating personalized journeys to uplift engagement, revenues, and experiences. With Crossroad Media, everything is personal. Get in touch today to find out more.
Yeah, so we also squeezed AI into the video, as you've seen, and this is what we're focusing with our panel on today. So what our solution focuses on, and with our partners, is we focus on personalizing the entire ecosystem for our customers, so every viewer touch point they have, meaning user interfaces, but also going beyond there to notifications, newsletters, advertisement experiences, even CRM connections, for example, for operating services. And our credo is to build trust with the viewer, meaning that you can always mix our automated processes with human control. So editorial control is very, very important for us. And also what we see very, very important on the personalization side, which we'll go into in the panel anyway, is privacy. So we don't use any personal identifiable data to make sure that no data is used the users don't know about. Finally, how do we use AI in our projects? So first of all, to get to know your users better, understand what they do, understand what they're interested in, and what type of the audience and what type of the content catalog is relevant for them. And then also to connect with the users yourself. So make sure they come back to your service more often, and make sure that they utilize, your services to the maximum extent they can. And at the end of the day, what we try to emphasize on and enhance for our customers is deliver personalized actions in real time. So every user gets the content they're interested in on the device at every single time, for individuals, but also for cohorts, for segments, and for bigger audiences. And again, increase of engagement and KPIs is the most important part for us to reach for our customers, meaning we're not a technology company. We try to increase the business KPIs for our customers to make sure they get maximum out of our solution. And with this, back to Andreas.
Well, thank you, Tom. And without long delays, AJ. AJ doesn't have slides, but he has a tie. Big applause for AJ.
And I had no idea that I had to stand here alone and talk, so I'm going to talk a little bit of a quick introduction about myself and our company. I'm Ajay, I'm the CEO of Norwegian Media, and what we've been doing in the TV space for the last 20 years is everything from getting an encoder in our own cloud, going onto the cloud, and today we're talking a little about AI. I think it's understandable that with the advent of internet 25 years ago, we need to think of new buzzwords to move on every day. Artificial intelligence has nothing artificial about it, and there's nothing intelligent about it. I think when I say that there's AI all around us, it's as big a word as the internet itself. We don't talk about the internet, we live it. Artificial intelligence exists for a long time, and we've all been saying it. And the idea is as to how big and grand we can make it out to be. When you think about artificial intelligence, just imagine you've been watching Netflix, you've been wondering as to how it reads your mind or not, it gets your mind wrong or not, just like your own partner or your family. I think the idea of it is the time that it takes for it to understand you, the consumer, and the time that it takes for you to move forward using services on the internet, which has existed for over 2 decades. When you think of AI and the generative nature of it, there's 2 aspects to it. Helps of all, AI is a greater, grander word than machine learning that we've always used. It helps you understand a larger scope of facts. It makes help you make decisions quicker than the human mind. But the generative AI aspect of it is the same. Think of a creative designer that you worked with. Think of 2,000 such creative designers that work with who can't get along together, but AI does. Our stand in Hall 5 has been designed by AI. A lot of it is built because AI in itself designs animals that don't exist sometimes. We've used Petflix as a made-up application. The prompt in itself has been design an application by and for animals as big and great as Petflix. AI couldn't spell Petflix. We had to respell it for it. There is a huge human element to it before and after. The word of the year is not AI, it's prompt. It's as good as the prompt in itself, and it's as good as how well you can communicate to a machine that does not understand English, that does not understand emotions, and certainly not creativity, which means it has no limits. Just imagine 2025, just 2 years from now, when we've done 25 years of work. That's how big AI is. I hope my tie paid off and no slides paid off. Anyhow, imagination is what counts.
Thank you. Thank you, AJ. So we're going to talk about the promptification of our industry. Well, let's do that. And last but not least, Shuki from Kaltura. Big applause for Shuki.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much, Andy. Great being here, and it's so fascinating to hear Tom and AJ and see how we're different parts of the same exact value chain and ecosystem, and we're looking forward to share more views as we did in the preliminary sessions that we had. So a quick explanation about Kaltura before we deep dive into the wider session. And let's talk about the context of AI for us in Kaltura. So our mission statement is powering any video experience for any organization. So we have 700 talented employees all over the world that basically work with enterprise organizations for their internal video use cases, including event platforms, etc., with the biggest Ivy League universities all over the place, and our media and telecom business that serves 100 customers, so overall 1,000 customers served by the company, our partners, 100 of them media and telecom customers, doing that for 18 years, using the words cloud and OTT before it became cloud and OTT. In the summer, we had a fantastic peak of 7 weeks of 1 billion playbacks during the sports event that we served our customers in huge peaks in our cloud, in our scalable system, with 10 million API calls per minute, which is huge for the benefit of our customers, and serving 31 media and telecom customers with amazing logos as you can see over there, Vodafone, Bouygues Telecom, O2, and many others. Quickly, so the major trends that we see in the context of our business that also intersects very well with AI. First of all, we all do OTT. We all consume OTT services through the international giants, Disney, Netflix, others, or through our local media or pay TV service. So that's the standard for everybody. And then content creation is super democratized today. Everybody can create content, upload content. We're familiar with micro-influencers that have 50,000 TikTok or YouTube followers, and they create valuable content that is in par, in many cases, with the studio's content in terms of eyeballs. Broadcasters are here to stay. We see the large media companies and pay TV operators super creative, so they manage to expand their eyeballs internationally to bring more streams and more revenue. And obviously national players will continue being strong because each nation needs its TV services. And then with all that good thing, we want to inject and infuse AI to the traditional TV service. To make it much more personalized. TV today, we can say that it's personalized. It's not personalized. We all know that. To make it much more personalized, to make it much more contextual to specific events that are happening at the same day, at the same time, and also really making it interactive. And this is really our vision, and that's exactly what we're spending our R&D for the benefit of our customers and for our customers eventually that are the content editors among our direct customers, the viewers, their end customers, but get this also for content creators that were not our direct customers and become our direct customers so they can upload content to the pay TV platforms. So just showing you very briefly one of our demos that shows how we're using AI. So I skipped many parts of the video, but just showing you one of the debates that recently happened and how we take AI technologies. Can we see?
Sehr unterschiedliche Visionen für die Zukunft unseres Landes vor. Kommen wir zu den größten Momenten des Abends und wir müssen gleich hier anfangen. Einige Wähler haben Bedenken wegen, aber das war nicht immer der Tenor, der...
Wenn wir es schließlich schaffen, Medicare zu besiegen.
Aber das war nicht immer der Tenor der Debatte. Es gab auch Momente hitziger Auseinandersetzungen wie diesen hier, in dem sich Herr Trump...
So through our system, given we have so much access to data and to the original videos, we take the content, we transcript it, we add personal highlights based on the sentiment of the content. We're able to add subtitles, different languages to the original sound based on the original sound, highlighting, clipping, etc., and create a different, much more personalized experience that currently pay TV users don't have. So really looking forward to talk more about this during the panel. Thank you very much. Andy, back to you.
Thank you. Yeah, take a seat. Gentlemen, please come up. So, by the way, what you saw with Joe Biden and Trump, I did that yesterday at the Kaltura booth. So if you look for my name, Andy Waltenspiel, on LinkedIn, you see me talking English. So I did a 30-second video in English, and then I switched to French, to Chinese, and to German. Yeah. I must say, I didn't recognize myself in German, but the others, and Chinese, I hope I didn't say anything stupid. Good. So, you said it, the internet, we don't talk about the internet anymore. I hear people say AI will be something like electricity. It will be everywhere, and eventually we stop speaking about it. So, how new is AI really for what you do in your businesses? Maybe quick words from each of you to set the scene.
So what we do in our business is we build user experience. So we work with building UI UX on across a multitude of apps from mobile to CTVs. Now this can be as simple a word as a development house at the end of the day. The greater grander scheme of things is UI UX in terms of design, understanding the consumer, understanding a remote control to figure out how you need to find and search for the content that you want and play it, or use your finger on a smartphone. How does AI work across the scope of all of these things? First of all, it's design. How do you improve on design that exists across all of these devices that are evolving? I see Whale TV here. It's one of new words that we're using. It's a bit newer than AI, and I think that there's a new OS coming up, which means that there's a new TV to be bought. How do you make sure that years of investments of streaming TV fits on new devices, that somebody unknowingly buys a new TV that didn't exist a month ago? The idea is to be prepared in terms of not just the design UI UX, but the technologies in itself that needs to be evolved and ready for adapting itself for future new devices. We work as an engineering company, so we're using it from everything from generating code to making sure that it's documented well enough for somebody else to understand and evolve that code, to review that code and test it. Test automation in itself is a big word, again, much underused.
Yeah.
I think that when you talk about test automation across streaming TV in general, we see a lot of people having KPIs and understanding and trying to reach 100% testing of applications on and off devices. To make sure that such mundane tasks helps quality of user experience, we'll actually go back 20 years in time when broadcast and its stability was 99.79s. We haven't reached that in streaming TV, and there's that much to achieve. And I hope that quality will be improved with AI technologies in the future.
Good. Thank you, Ajay. Shuki, how long have you been implementing AI, whatever you call AI, into your products and services?
So first of all, addressing something that AJ said, so we're in Kaltura almost 99.99999, the 7 nines that you mentioned for our customers, and this is exactly our bread and butter, making sure that our streaming platforms for the telecom operators and the media companies work in that availability and stability. We are undergoing a few transformations. We're leading a few transformations in the market for our customers. The first one was the cloud TV transformation that we started leading 7 or 8 years ago, in which we took customers that use legacy solutions by our competitors, non-upgradable upgrades every 6 months or 9 months, heavy upgrades, not a fascinating user experience, not a fascinating user interface, and transform those customers from on-prem to the cloud. So that's the first transformation that we brought to the market. Again, started a decade ago with Vodafone and a few other very remarkable names. And that transformation really proved itself. We saw a lot of other competitors going through that path with time. But also the benefits for our customers, for our direct customers, was huge in terms of ROI, in terms of how much they need to spend on technology, etc. And then a few years ago, when that transformation was mature enough, we started looking at the next transformation in our business and consulting with our precious customers. Getting much more deeper into AI was really the more relevant thing to do at the time, the more obvious thing to do at the time. And this is exactly what we did. Started investing into bringing our cloud TV technology into much more personalized, enriched capability through open AI sources. We don't invent any LLMs. We don't come with anything in that, but just take things that are out there, work with amazing partners that are in the industry to see how we can take all this ecosystem and bring this eventually to the subscribers.
Okay. Tom, we saw your cool video, by the way. Did you do it by AI?
No.
Okay, so there's still some old good designer work at work. But let's dream big. Let's say in 5 years from now, you do a lot of stuff with AI today. What do you think will be possible in 3-5 years that you can't do today? Let's talk about the future.
I mean, coming back to your very first question, how much do we use AI
Yes.
and for how long do we use AI? I think it's AI and machine learning is around for 20 years, probably as long as the internet, more or less. And I think you can divide it into different stages as far as personalization is concerned. It's kind of the pre-processing side of the business, like metadata enrichment, these kind of things. But you also have it on the algorithmic side for profiling, individual profiling segments, these kind of things. And then also on the display side, like creating rows, creating row titles. So these are things where AI currently is in use and also is helpful. But where I believe AI is not happening right now and possibly in 3 to 5 years, with a question mark, is more towards consumer-facing side. So at the moment, AI is more used as kind of taking away the effort from human beings, but then always quality controlled by human beings. I think this is a very, very important part in AI today, because sources AI are using are not always credible, so you always have to have, a human factor basically to it. This is, I think, one of the main improvements on AI. The other thing where I believe there's a lot of room of improvement for AI is privacy. So how much information do you feed into an open AI, which basically how much data do you feed into the open internet? That's basically the question here, right? And how comfortable do the end user feel that you feed their data into the internet? And I think this is a big area where we still need to have a lot of work done to make sure, again, privacy is maintained.
And it's not treated the same way in every geography of this planet.
Correct.
While in Europe, a lot of that GDPR is taken care of. When I have a discussion with some of my friends in Latin America and US, said privacy is just in the way. So we're going to get there. You're one of the leading companies in content discovery, content recommendation. I recently tried, and that's one of my problems, daughter 14, son 17, my wife and I want to watch a movie together. It's close to impossible to find something. So I reached out to ChatGPT and said, we like this and that and that. Can you recommend me others? So 7 of the 10 I already had watched, but the other 3 were really good. So if ChatGPT can do that, why do I need you?
That's a good point. No, I mean, first of all, you just said it in the question. Do you want to feed into ChatGPT daughter 14, father 37, etc., etc.? So that's one aspect. No, but I think the biggest challenges we see with particularly Gen AI is scalability, costs, and also responsibility. So those are the 3 main barriers we see today that you can use Gen AI on its own. It doesn't scale very, very well. Costs are 10, 100, sometimes even 1,000 times of the solutions we are providing, for example.
Okay.
And then also the responsiveness. In a UI nowadays you have milliseconds to provide an answer. Gen AI just can't offer that to you. There are always seconds actually.
Is it that it can't offer it yet, or do you think it will get there, or is it a danger?
I think that's the least problem we're having with Gen AI. I think the responsiveness at some point in time.
Okay.
But it's also Gen AI is only as good as the data sources it also has, right? So and this is, I think, where a lot of people still are very cautious using AI with, again, private information or information they don't want users, other users to know about you. And this is where our solutions, which are working only with anonymized data, are more trusted and also more effective in that point of view.
Okay, so you mentioned cost. Let's park privacy for a moment. You work with some of the largest operators in TV on the planet, Vodafone with several millions of customers. How expensive is it to run AI 24/7, 365?
It is expensive. At this stage, we were just demoing some. We were just looking at some of the cost aspects of this. And for example, running today live dubbing of one single channel 24/7 costs much more than having three people doing that offline. And obviously, these costs are humongous at this stage, but we'll see as AI becomes more commodity, and we saw the pace is so fast that the prices will go down. Even over the last few months, we saw that the prices started going down. But more than that, we'll get to the place, I think, quite quickly, that it is more cost efficient for some of our customers to use those technologies for some of the peak events, not necessarily 24/7, and find the right optimization between this and then having relevant people doing that instead of that offline, which is something that people don't always want to do because they want the real time experience. So I'm actually quite optimistic that this, in terms of cost efficiency, it will be with us much faster than we think.
Okay. How much did it cost to have your booth designed by AI and come up with Petflix?
Including my time, free. I did it on my free time in the summer holidays, and we made sure that we used any free creativity that we have. You know, with any new tool, I think the tool only gets better and when it gets used by more people. And as much as there's investments, we count on the big companies like Microsoft and Google today. I think the Google mantra is to make sure that make it free, make it available, make everyone use it. It gets intelligent with time. And it's the same for any other premium tool. If you don't use it across all of your live channels, and if you don't spend 5 people's worth of work for the next 3 years, you'll never save that kind of money in the next 6 years. But do you want to make that investment now? And is there an ROI? Time will tell. I think what we're saying is that let the big companies spend that money, use the free tools. Don't need to say that premium equals better. A brand does not mean it's better. It's just your personal preference and your safety net that you want to build around the use of AI. What we're doing in our company is very simple. If you don't use AI and you don't use that word in your own context and sense, don't talk to me. It means make it simple, make it relevant, make it real. Use any tool you want. When we say we designed our stand with AI, we said, we brought up the colors, we brought up all of the pictures that you see on it. There's a huge app that's been designed by AI, but there's a lot of human work that's gone in. And the idea is to use these tools just to become, adapt your lifestyle to use AI, whether you want to use ChatGPT or you want to use Crossroad Media, where they use it, that's irrelevant because it's going to creep into your lives one way or the other. And I think that we just want to make it comfortable and second nature to human beings, just to say that you don't think about using Google search. Why should you be talking about ChatGPT? Because it's just a common aspect of it. Yep. If you use a big tool, Copilot from Microsoft, or you use a small little company from Spain, it's irrelevant because it's a choice of tool. And that's what we're saying, use it.
Good point here. So part of that study I've been talking about, I asked the big operators, heads of TV, CTOs, what are you doing with AI? A lot is still experimentation. Like you say, they try to come up with cool ideas, but very quickly goes to how can it help us to save cost. And the automation you mentioned is a big topic, writing code, and finding bugs, even detecting fraud and stuff like that. So let's talk about the use cases that really resonate, because if it's quality of service, it's very hard to monetize. That's what I hear. So what are the use cases that really, where you see AI most relevant today? Tom.
As I said before, I think the first application for us for Gen AI, LLM, was metadata enrichment. So to make sure that, you have, particularly on the recommendation side, you have certain algorithms which work on the back of metadata. So the more data points you have, the better they work. I think that's kind of automation, and I think that's very, very clear cost saving, but also time saving sometimes. Mm-hmm. But where we use Gen AI as well is to increase user engagement, for example. So two particular use cases in mind is with profiling users and user segments, we understand what they're interested in, and based on that we can provide recommendations, personalization. But if you have Netflix as an example, when you get a row which says because you watched Interstellar, it doesn't tell a lot. It doesn't say, why these items are in there. I mean, you have explanations, obviously. This is all part of recommendations, but on the first glance, you don't really understand why these items are in there. So this is where we use Gen AI to look into those rows of our recommendations, find the common denominator, and say, okay, this is all about, the hero unleashed within, for example. So you understand it's about, a hero within the person. So you get a much more emotive and relatable title, for example, to the row, which boosts engagement, which then translates also into ROI, for example. And the other thing is, I think, where Gen AI is very strong at the moment is search and also conversational search. So let people search in natural language, let them ask follow-up questions to narrow down. So I think those are the, I would say, most common and powerful application in content discovery personalization today, where we see, but again, you need to look into how to apply it in the best way to achieve cost effectiveness, responsiveness, and also reliability.
Okay, thank you. Shugi.
So in our context, I think that it goes into different use cases and the personas that we're eventually serving. So starting from the end user, I mean our customers, us that sit and watch TV. So first of all, we want to make the experience much more personalized. The personalization that we have today in the different services that people are using are things like people like you watched. And I always imagine who are those people like me that watch those things that I never watch. So we're not really personalized. And this is exactly what we want to do, to take the remaining 3 assets out of 10 that you mentioned that you might watch and you would like to watch, and bring this to the TV experience rather than for you going to chat GPT. So that's one thing, that's one persona. And as much as TV will become much more personalized, the consumption of video, the eyeballs by the big names, the media companies and the pay TV operators, our customers, will stay bigger among those traditional services, and we know that they fight very hard to retain subscribers rather than churning them to the international giants. The second persona that we're serving is our customers through content curation, much more accurate content curation, much more automatic content curation, etc. So it really is relevant to the first part of the discussion that we had. And then the third thing is really the content creators eventually that we also want to serve as a new segment. Currently we have capabilities in our system for different content providers to upload directly content, different studios, etc. And we want to the content creators, the micro-influencers, the mega-influencers to feel like another content a creator and upload their content directly to the service that we have. All of this through our AI capabilities that we show, the clipping, highlighting, chaptering, personal metadata, etc. Other than that, I'll just say in 1 second that AI can also be used in for our customers also from an operational point of view. So many people still zap, still move between channels, believe it or not. Most of people still do that. And imagine that AI, based on your past habits, knows exactly what channel you're going to zap up or down after you watched a very big game based on the past experience that you had, and already prepared that channel for you so you can have it instantly and not after 3 seconds of waiting. And also for operational users, for internal use cases of the company, I can talk about this for hours, but those are the main use cases that currently we're serving.
Okay, cool, Shuki. Ajay.
It's not what we do, it's what we see with Netflix. We've been following the
You say
forums.
Netflix or Petflix?
I said Netflix and it will become Petflix someday. So I think the idea of Netflix has been, they've been using AI and machine learning in the real context of things. And what machine learning and AI is analyzing facts, helping you make decisions on a vast scale. And they've been doing this for the longest time. Look at the thumbnails that they've been using. They've been changing the color of thumbnails for probably 15 years. And that depends on the kind of content that you want to watch. It kind of understands the user behavior based on who watches what kind of content at what time of day and what kind of a profile. That's been being collected for the last 10 or 15 years. But is that relevant today with a generation that's coming up that we just don't understand? And they're changing so much that they're changing our way of life. And how much should that confuse Netflix? Can you imagine that? And the idea that Netflix is doing things a little bit differently now is that they're using generative AI. Now, what that means is that metadata creation, this is your world, where we've been relying on a lot of human effort to create this kind of content, whether be it content production in its greater, grander scale of actual video content, or simply the thumbnails that you see. These are being generated today with generative AI, which means that they're changing the background color at a speed that you don't understand, and you're seeing new thumbnails pretty much depending on where you are, who you are, what time you're watching it. And this allows a consumer to either watch a piece of content or not. Maybe you're going to watch something that you watched before, the first 7 pieces of content, simply because of a thumbnail. That's beyond our understanding, and even Netflix is learning that today. And when I read these blogs and forums of how Netflix designs these tools of AI, it just gives us the magnitude of how much generative AI will help us, not just to select the content, but also choose the kind of content that we watch during the course of video production, which is the new case of things. They're going to start creating a lot of short form content from larger scale content that you're going to see. So you're going to see forks of new content. So if you're going to watch a series today, you're going to watch 5 different other series that are spin-offs of this one particular series that has been tried on before for the last 15, 20 years. You could, I think during the time of Friends, you had spin-offs of Joey and all of these other shows that never took off. But this time it's going to be done well, simply because based on the fact that a lot of content has been watched in all of the episodes and seasons, they're going to compile storylines and create new storylines that's going to be producing shorter form content that's going to fill the market with a lot more content to watch. And that's what we're going to look forward to in the coming 12, 15 months, I would say.
Definitely a lot of stuff coming. One I used myself yesterday on your booth. When we recorded that, there's of course a lot of noise. I uploaded it, loaded it into my video editing software, and there was one button to press, voice isolation. The noise was gone. It was like it was in a soundproof box. You heard nothing. So that's what I use every day when I shoot videos here. You might have seen me with a video crew. But let's talk about, not about tools and use cases, because that's nice. The technology is there. You can use it. What are the challenges? You mentioned privacy is one. Let's talk about that. What are the concerns? Who is concerned about what? Is it the operators? Is it the users? Is regulation the problem? And how do we tackle it? Tom.
I mean, from our point of view, from a personalization point of view, it's mainly about the users and the operators. Because, I mean, regulations come and go. I mean, they are there, you know, that's kind of the corset you have to put everything into. From our point of view, what we've seen is, particularly with personalization and recommendation solutions, is that if you cannot gain the trust of the user, they will never use your service.
Yeah.
And this is the big challenge today. Even, you know, when you sign away your life, when you sign up to a service by just pressing the I agree button, nobody reads those kind of things. But as soon as, you know, people get stories about the data is being lost or how the data is being stored or used, those are the problematic parts.
Well, you give them a pizza, a free pizza, and then they will sign up to everything.
Some of them, yeah, I'm pretty sure, sign away their life, as I said.
Yeah.
But I think what we try to do, and this is why we are never in these kind of discussions with our customers, is from the ground up, we designed a technology that doesn't use any personally identifiable data. So it's all, and even in our contracts, you know, we have a clause that they're not allowed to send any of those data to us. Because we don't even want to get into those kind of conversations. Kind of the only correlation that should be able to be done to the end user should be on our customer side. There should never be kind of a possibility even from somebody, you know, hacking into our system and find information about you, your daughter, or, you know, your wife. So I think this is very important. And the other way is, what we tell our customers very often is, tell them what kind of data you use and how you use the data. Because people are not scared about their data being used. It's just that they feel in control what type of data they are sharing and which part of them they feel comfortable with being used with third parties and these kind of things.
But the question is, if they don't read the fine print, how will they know about that?
Well, I mean, nowadays in a social media world, I mean, you will get to know about it very, very quickly.
Okay.
I mean, leaks are there all the time. And you also see this sometimes, you know, the difference is, I don't know if you recognize this, but the difference, for example, when you go to a website the first time, you immediately can tell if it's an American company or European company. Yeah. Because in America, it tells you, you know, you consent to all of our cookies, and then you have to go through like 500 pages and turn off everything which you don't want. In Europe, it's the other way around. In Europe, you can say reject all, and that's it. And that's the different approach here.
Yeah, okay. One of the interesting comments I got in this study is a challenge seeing how do I update my terms and conditions. Because somebody who signed up, became a subscriber 10 years ago, suddenly I come with the AI program, I need them to re-sign legally binding, and that is a challenge. Maybe not, I heard that once. What would you say is the biggest hurdles to adopt AI? What's the people element? Are employees, developers scared they will be rejected or they don't need you anymore? What are some of the key hurdles to implement AI that you see?
I don't think that we're at this stage that we won't need development or things like that. So first of all, just addressing the GDPR, I think this is also something that we obviously see by our customers. Most of our customers, even not only in Europe, in other places, adhere to the GDPR rules. Also out Europe in some cases, not in some continents, as you outlined. And exactly as they adhere to GDPR, they will eventually need to adhere to AI safety and AI privacy regulations that will be part of the game, and we will need to respect this as a vendor, and all the suppliers will need to respect this, and obviously our customers towards their customers. And I think that eventually the way that it works in Europe will overcome, and that will be the standard de facto all over the place, also in the US and in other places. And then in the context of AI and development, eventually we still need the talented development force. We eventually need talented people that do the development, that do the QA, that do the checks, that bring the human touch to things, I think even in 10 or 15 years from now. So I don't see that disappearing.
Jay, you said in your opening speech, it's not about AI, it's about prompt. So, and somebody needs to write the prompt, unless one AI writes the prompt for the other AI, checked by a third AI.
Yeah.
Where is this going? Are we all becoming prompt engineers?
Not engineers. It's not the most
Prompt
sexy
designers?
word. No. Prompt designers, lovely. Yeah, exactly. Because I think it's a talent to tell a machine how to do the job. It's leadership in its glorious way to make sure that you all get assistance. You need to be respectful of the words that you want to use when you speak to anybody to get work done, and so should you to a machine. But you should also be explanatory you should explain things well enough so that you put the mandate around which anything needs to be done. Creating a prompt is a science. I think that when we made an app, I think a couple of weeks ago for the LG hackathon, which we lost, we made a gaming app for the first time. It was a fully AI-driven app where it was about quiz, for kids to ask questions about animals. The AI questions that we got were similar over and over again, and some of the questions have the answers in them. And we were thinking, this is so stupid. But, you had to add to the prompt saying, don't add the answer in the question. And that's common sense to a human being, but you have to explain that to a robot, because that's the common sense that we need to learn to make sense that it's not common anymore to tell a machine. I think teaching yourself how to make prompts as a person in your personal life or in your professional life is one of the key factors to getting ahead for the next decade. And I think that that's going to happen if you tell yourself let me ask ChatGPT for the 10 movies that I want to watch. But the next time, you want to make sure that ChatGPT remembers that you have watched this and it's told you this before.
Yes.
But that's not happening today. But that's the continual nature of AI. It's about using it, it's about continually using it and building on it. That's when the machine becomes more intelligent and you become more perceptive of how to speak to a machine as well, which is a new talent to have. I think in terms of a challenge, not using it is the challenge in itself. Using it and making it normal is the challenge that we have to I mean, there is legals and privacy and everything else. All of this will fall into place and people will, AI will train itself to follow the law. You will train yourself to follow the law as well. And that's human nature of it. And that's the machine nature of it.
I hear all of you saying it's definitely not going away. The time will go away in 7, 6, 5 seconds. So I hear you bullish. Can you just nod or give me a thumbs up? AI is here to stay and will do cool stuff?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I
Good.
say?
Can I see your hands? What do you think? Is AI? Yeah. Okay. Good.
Can I just, before we wrap up,
Yeah.
one sentence? So the Cultura booth is here. If you can see the sign over there. So I invite everybody to come and see the demos that we're doing for our customers and for their end users.
You are in hall 5, I think this way.
Just on the other side of the hall here.
And
can
you
also
are
come and
that
some-
way.
get
Really
some
pink
water as
booth
well.
designed by AI over there, yeah?
Good. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for being here. Have a great rest of the show. Thank you.
Andy. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.